Radio. Homegrown Radio. Real 92.
All right, we back at it. Homegrown Radio. Chuck Dizzle, DJ Head.
West Coast.
Got a special guest in the house with us right now, man. Seen him perform at the Payday LA stage. Had him out there, and it was just a great time. Seen him do his thing, man. Kembe X is in the building with me right now, man.
What's happening, man?
Kembe, what's going on, bro?
Man, you know.
No, we don't
prayed
know.
Up.
That's why the fuck we
You
asking
okay?
you.
Yeah, staying prayed up, you know, working very hard, losing a lot of sleep. You know what I'm saying? Getting things done, plotting.
That's a good thing, though, right?
Yes,
It means
sir.
you're busy.
Yes, sir. Very busy working on this next project.
So let's talk about the project that you have out right now.
Yes, sir.
I was depressed until I made this.
Yes, sir.
Sounds pretty dark. Very, very dark. Was that the intention of it to like grab people's attention? Were you really going through some shit?
Yeah.
For you to do this.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't figure out what I wanted to name the project, so I just named it after what I was going through when I made it.
At the moment.
Literally, yeah. So I knew it was gonna be taken as dark, but I wanted it to be as honest as possible.
Got you.
You know what I mean?
When you say like you didn't have a title, like is it because of you not inspired, or is it because you got too many thoughts? Like not enough thoughts or too many thoughts?
Well, I just didn't have a title that I liked. So this approach, how I got this album title that I was depressed until I made this, was me like, I'm not finna overthink this. I've been thinking too hard, too long. I'm finna just be straightforward with this shit.
When you say depressed, though, you mean like medically, clinically, psychologically?
So I was diagnosed with depression when I was young, when I was 14. But it was like a long phase, like, and it had to do with like a lot of bad decisions I was making, doing drugs, drinking way too much, you know. And and also just feeling like I was getting old. Like on the song Roblox, I said, this nigga having a quarter life crisis. Like that's how I felt. You know what I mean? So, and it just felt honest. Like when I said that out loud, I was like, oh, this is definitely the title.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is definitely the truth. And once I said it, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna catch people's attention. You know what I mean?
That's a good thing. I mean, because it definitely like stops you in your tracks, and it kind of makes you want to listen to the project. Like, yo, what the fuck was he going?
I noticed that like when you know them pages on Twitter that be announcing what's dropping on Thursday night. Like I was seeing a lot of tweets like, I have no idea who this is, but I'm finna listen to I Was Depressed Until I Made This just off the title.
Did you have a lot of people that they've said it resonated with them, the things that you were talking about?
So many people, like more people than I expected, honestly, because I talk so much in detail about what I'm going through. I didn't really I expected people to like the music because of like the quality of it, and you know, like I've been doing this for a long time, but I didn't expect it to resonate with so many people.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I didn't have a lot of expectations, but it definitely surprised me.
Do you feel like you know how people say music is their therapy and shit like that, but then you also just spoke on the fact that you was doing a lot of self-medicating.
Yes.
So for you, what's more beneficial, the music or the medicine?
Both together.
If you had to pick one.
I would say the music. I would, because I wouldn't like, honestly, I don't really self-medicate if I'm not making music. You know, it's something that kind of came with being in the studio all the time. Like it's just in the environment, and you just do that shit. It goes hand in hand almost at a certain point.
I saw the artwork, so that's what made me think about that. The artwork for the project. It was like, oh shit. Like
what you mean?
The artwork,
the animation?
Yeah.
But what about it made you think?
It just to me it's like when I'm looking at it, to me it looks like medicated.
It
looks medicated.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's trippy. Yeah,
somebody dropped some acid.
Trippy.
Like
there you go.
Yeah, it's trippy.
Just, I don't do drugs, so I don't know what the lingo is. You know, I'm old. You know, I'm an old nigga. But
now I had the pleasure of being somewhat familiar with who you were. Musa sent me your music like I want to say 2015. He just dropped me a link. Yeah, and I was like, oh, this dude is dope. Didn't really, pay attention to the movement or anything, but this project I really like kind of dived into it and got a chance to really listen from top to bottom. So, first of all, what's the relationship with Musa, and how did you guys link up years back?
So Musa's my manager. I'm the first artist that he managed like himself, outside of the label, and I met him through Isaiah. I've known Isaiah Rashad for like almost 10 years now.
Damn.
So before he got signed, or when he got signed, he called me like the day of and was like, yo, you got to come out here and do this with me. And I guess my manager at the time also booked Kendrick for his first show in Illinois. Crazy. So like he knew TDE too. So like Musa was hearing my name, so many different avenues. And he reached out. He was like, man, I keep hearing your name. I got to see what's up.
That's
I came out
crazy.
here. It's supposed to be for 2 weeks. Ended up living here.
Get the fuck out. How long was it? What was that? That was like
2013.
About to say.
Yeah,
wow.
right. The week after I turned 19.
That is crazy.
The week after you turned. Where are you originally from?
Chicago.
From
South Holland, Illinois.
Now, what's the first
South
thing?
Holland.
Yeah, hold on.
He said that very specifically as to not be confused.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's my thing. I want to make sure that my legacy is about where I'm from. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's 5 minutes outside of Chicago, but there is a difference. You know
what's
that?
the difference?
Yeah.
It's just not. It's a suburb, but it's also like it's a predominantly black suburb. Like, it's hood shit going on. It's just not as. It's just different. You know what I mean?
One of the first things, because I Googled it, I had no idea.
Nobody does.
No, only reason why I say that because a lot of people, just to kind of like give comparison to out here, and it's the distance isn't the same, but a lot of artists that are from the IE, they trip out when people say they from LA. They like, nah, I'm not from LA. I'm from the IE. So I'm like, let me see what this is about.
Well, my thing with that is that in Chicago, it's kind of the opposite. You know, like people will be from the suburbs and don't claim it because it's kind of like they give you a hard time in the city about that. Mm-hmm. But once I got outside of the city, like I kind of felt like a responsibility to the South suburbs to represent it because nobody really does that. Yeah. You know, but people be from there. I'm not gonna. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna name names, but people be from there, and it's not a bad thing.
But they claim Chicago.
But I get it though also because when you a kid, you getting people giving you a hard time, like in many different ways for being from there.
You didn't ever feel like pressured to run with the Chicago flag?
Absolutely,
as
I
opposed
did.
to...
When I first came out, that's what I used to say. But it's a very recent thing where I feel like no, I'm supposed to represent South Holland. So
hold on. Being somebody that is that way, right?
Yeah.
Like you decide, okay, I came out this way.
Yeah.
But you know what? Fuck that. I'm from here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like rappers or artists or anybody that does that where they not necessarily from the actual epicenter of the shit,
right?
But they from a suburb or an outskirt of the shit? Do you feel like that's an insecurity?
Absolutely, yeah. That's what I'm facing by, you know what I'm saying, like by representing the suburbs is facing that insecurity and trying to show that like it really don't matter, bro. Like your story is your story. That's what matters. Mm-hmm. The truth is what matters.
I fuck with that.
And if you're able to put a specific spot on the map, I mean, that's even better for you. Like that, you're gonna be known for that. Instead of being another artist from Chicago, you're gonna be the first artist from South Holland.
Well, what the thing is like that I feel like it's hard to understand is that the South suburbs is so like it's Chicago culture. Like it's very close. You know, Chicago's not as spread out as like LA is. You know, so it's a 5-minute drive, then you in the city. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of small suburbs next to each other. It's not like Carson and Compton where it's a whole bunch of big ass cities with their own courthouses and shit, you know.
God damn, this shit is fucking Siri over here fucking tripping. I'm looking at everybody else like, whose phone is it? Hey, so I did Google it and it said the village. Like what is the village? Like it's the village of South Holland.
Yeah, so it's in Thornton Township and then you got the village of South Holland.
Wait, say that again?
Thornton Township is like
a township.
So that's the whole area. So it's Calumet City, Harvey, Dalton, South Holland, Lansing, Riverdale, like all these suburbs that are right next to each other. It'd be like the closest thing I can compare it to is like Gardena, Compton, Carson.
That's not suburbs.
But like that's what I'm saying. Like it's different. Like, but
I get what you're saying.
But it's like it's more. I don't know.
So we'd be like Moreno Valley, and like. Yeah, I get
kind of, but it's smaller. Like Moreno Valley got like 300,000 people or something.
So it's small.
Like, it's very small. South Holland got like 20,000 people.
A town and a township.
I couldn't tell. Like I don't know.
I
like that answer too.
I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie.
You just taught me. You just learned me.
But it's Thornton Township. So the high schools is like Thornwood, Thorn Ridge in Dalton. Thornwood is in South Holland. Thornton Fractional North is in Calumet City. Thornton Fractional South is in Lansing.
That shit too confusing, bro.
No, so what was the connection between you and Isaiah then? So he was from Chattanooga, right?
Yeah, YouTube comments. We met on YouTube.
Really?
When I was putting out music in high school and it was getting like 400 views and it was just all people that from Facebook and then I went to high school with. He found it and was like, "Yo, like I really like your stuff. I would appreciate your feedback on mine." And he sent me his music and I really, really liked it. And we just kind of went back and forth and it got to the point where we would talk on the phone like once or twice a week for hours at a time. And summer 2012, the year before he got signed, I spent like the whole summer with him in Tennessee.
Get the fuck out of here.
We went on the Smokers Club tour with Juicy J and Joey Badass. And then he came back to Chicago after that. And we made some records that ended up on my second project, Soundtrack to Armageddon. And like 6 months later, he got signed.
Damn, that's crazy. So what do you feel
out
like?
Of nowhere.
What do you feel like the biggest difference between the projects that you put out previously and then this one now?
Self-awareness. Like it's always a journey, but I feel like now I kind of, like back then I was like 16, 17, 18 years old. So I was still a kid, you know, and I didn't really understand. I was developing a worldview where now I'm pretty like sturdy in like who I am.
Was there like a specific awakening that you had? Was there certain moments? Was it, you know?
Yes, it's a lot of moments, but I think it's just a process. Like being out here had a lot to do with it. Just being away from my family and just doing this music stuff all the time, having to walk in rooms and like be myself and make it work and make it make sense. You know, having that go wrong until it go right and being like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. Like that's how this works. You know.
Is the family supported? Like,
yeah, absolutely. I have a very supportive family.
I saw you. Was it with Q on the?
The Crash Talk tour. Yep.
How was that? Other than being with ugly motherfuckers,
it was amazing, man. It was dope. Performing in front of big crowds is always like this is extremely fun, and that was my first time performing a lot of the songs off the album, so it was dope.
Do you ever get? Obviously, you feed off the energy of the crowd.
Absolutely,
but obviously you performing in front of a crowd that's not yours.
Exactly.
Was it discouraging, people not knowing the songs, or was it like you had a point to prove?
It's like I got a point to prove, but it's also like I'm confident in the music, and like I've performed in front of big crowds, so I kind of like I look at it like practice, you know, like because it's like okay, I definitely want to show out. I definitely want to see what works and what doesn't work. So it was kind of trial and error. Like as the shows went on, they got better and better. The last one was the best one. And I remember like the first show I went super hard and was out of breath by the end of my set. So the second show I didn't go hard at all, but it was like too calm. So then the third show,
win right,
you know what I'm saying? I'm figuring it out. You know, like no facts. It's facts. And then the last show was in Denver, and it's like really hard to breathe out there.
I know.
My homie's like, man, you gotta breathe through your nose, like between everything you say. And I didn't run out of breath. That was literally all I was doing.
Do you think there's a I was talking to, I forgot who I was talking to, and they were saying it's when they work out, like you see a lot of artists and they working out crazy, and most people think it's for vanity. Most people think like I'm working out,
get your win.
I'm working out to get a six pack. No, I'm working out so I don't fucking die on stage.
Facts. I try. I'm not consistent enough, but that's why I go to the gym. It's for that. Like it was a point in time when I was like 40 pounds lighter like 4 years ago, and I was still going to the gym. On the elliptical or on the treadmill doing what Andre 3000 said. They used to run like miles and rap their lyrics. I tried to do that. It's very difficult, but I still do it sometimes because you can feel like your breathing patterns, like where you need to control it and how you're supposed to breathe and stuff. So I
seen a documentary. I remember watching DMX, and DMX was a asthmatic. Yeah, right? He has asthma.
I didn't know that.
DMX has asthma.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because the more that you excel in the music business, the longer your fucking set
right,
gets.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So right now you got the little 20-minute, 25. Yeah, that's cute.
I just did 55 minutes in Chicago though.
Get out of
my
here.
headliner show, I did 55. I had my set up for, I thought it was like 35 minutes, but I was like freestyling in between songs and improvising.
That's
and like I was controlling all the lights. And I didn't run out of breath though. Like I don't know how. Like, but that was my first time having like half the crowd, somebody know one of the songs, or like they singing everything. You know? So
how was
that's energizing.
Do you ever feel like you have to take a break though? Because I remember one time I went to a Lupe Fiasco. I went to Lupe Fiasco show at the House of Blues, and he had an intermission. And I said, the nerve of this nigga.
Yo,
you know what I'm saying?
When I was
but I didn't realize he motherfucker be tired.
Yeah. So I was putting together my set, and I recorded a few interludes for the show, and like. It's like some mantra type shit, you know, like stay in the center, stay centered and stuff. And I was like doing some like weird voices in the background, but I did that so that I could fucking take a knee on stage. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like turn the lights off. But it was dope though. It makes it like a moment, you know, too. So you know, for all the artists out there, be creative with your stamina,
with your wind,
with your wind preservation.
Yeah. Now, how was that though? Because you were that was what. That was All-Star Weekend, right?
Yeah, that was the week before, the weekend before. Yeah, but I was there through All-Star Weekend.
Gotcha, man. I mean, how was that though? I mean, that to have a lot of that shit going on within the city, and you kind of like now evolving in the music business and actually doing shit now. So it's like you're running around making things happen.
Well, in Chicago, honestly, like it's kind of been like that, you know. But it's definitely at a whole another level now. Where like, but in Chicago, it's so small, and like you know, I came up with like Chance the Rapper and Vic Mensa and them. So we all like with the whole city. It's like it's way more than people I just named. We all known each other since before we had any buzz. Crazy. So like we came up together and our faces are known. You know, our names are known. So we usually getting, and in Chicago we know how to finesse into anywhere anyway. So that's
two things. what are some artists that, I mean, you just mentioned people you came up with, which made me think, who inspires you musically? It could be artist, producer, and then also who has like tapped into you and be like, man, I fuck with your shit, that probably threw you off or surprised you.
I gotta think about that second one. What's it called?
Inspiration.
My inspirations, honest, if I'm being dead honest, it's a lot of Kendrick Lamar and Young Thug, and
that's a mix.
Like, yeah, and it's on purpose too.
You type nigga put ketchup on your eggs, huh?
No, I'm not. Hey man, put some respect on it, man.
Okay, all right, for sure.
But I mean, it's a lot of stuff. I listen to everything. Like, I listen to like Radiohead. I've been listening to a lot of folk music. Like,
for real?
Yeah, because I like to sing. I like melodies. I like different instruments and stuff. You know, and I got all that really probably from Kanye. You know, Kanye is a super eccentric person with sound. But when you pay attention to what Kanye or like Tyler the Creator's talking about musically, and you start listening to that stuff, like it's like a rabbit hole. Like you find a whole bunch of stuff. But then lately, I've been listening to a lot of NBA YoungBoy and like Earl Sweatshirt. Like I like to listen to both sides, you know. But also I listen to just a lot of my music. You know, a lot of it's based on also the things that I have to say and the perspectives I want to get across and things that I feel like people don't be saying that I want to say.
Yeah.
You know.
So what about like somebody that's probably hit you up, DM you, tapped in, or you know may have mentioned you like, I listen to.
So working with TDE, you know, like I'm sure people would think that like I be around like all them artists all the time, but I don't. Mm-hmm. And when when Kendrick retweeted the album, Mensa hit him up first, and he showed me the text, and Kendrick was like, "Man, I meant to hit you up. I've been keeping up with him for these few years. He in his bag more than ever. Like that was crazy to see, you know. But I mean, it's not honestly. Either I feel like I'm forgetting. I'm sure it's been somebody, but that's the only one that really like.
Yeah, no, that's the one you want though. That's the one
you want.
Somebody
you inspired by.
Yeah, Kendrick like my favorite rapper of all time.
Now a lot of people would assume. I mean, you got Mensa from TDE managing you. You went on tour with Q. A lot of people would probably assume at this point that you have some affiliation and probably signed by them. Is that something that's in the works, or you thinking about it, want to do it, or is it kind of just like, man, I'm doing my own shit right now?
He ain't fucking with
like me and Mensa kind of came in and it was something that was spoken about years and years and years ago, and we just never got to it. I don't think it's something that'll never happen, but it's kind of like a family thing, you know, like Top lets like gives me a lot of leeway, me and Mensa a lot of leeway to do a lot of things, so it's like having the benefits of being on a label, but it's still not the stamp.
Right.
I don't know. I really do I think about it like on some just like, you know, if I'm working to make something like that make sense, but whatever happens.
I think
I'm thankful regardless.
Yeah, it works out in the best favor for you. Like you just said, you get all of the kind of the perks in a sense without the stamp, but at the same time.
Not all of them.
No, but
you know what I'm saying?
The affiliate, it's perception out there.
Yeah,
People right now, they're looking at like, oh, he's another one that signed with him. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I think it works out in your favor, and you can still maneuver and move the way you want. Because I would assume if you wanted to drop something, you said you're working on something, you're working on a new album.
A few,
like whenever you're ready at this point, I'm sure throughout a little conversation, you can drop it at whenever you want, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the benefit.
Yeah.
I want to ask you before the huge glow up, because I want to be able to go back and reference this.
All right, let me
how important to you are accolades and recognition, Grammys and Academy? I mean, not Academy. What do you call it? What's the production shit?
I don't know.
I forgot
awards.
Just awards.
How important are awards to you? Being acknowledged by your peers, other musicians, stuff like that. How important is that to Kembe?
Awards, not at all. Like,
so you don't give a fuck if you ever win a Grammy?
I would like to win a Grammy, but I don't think it's like any like. I don't know. It's not. I watched it go bad so many times. You know, it's like I can't put too much into that.
Gotcha.
Because I'll really be broken, and I know it don't make sense. It's one of those things we do where like this is like something off about this.
Billboard.
But you still
that's
let
what I was thinking. Billboard Music Awards.
No, like
American Music Awards.
Like I want to like I have a goal to win a Grammy, but like that's not what I make music for at all. You know, and then with other artists, I think that matters to me a little bit more, but it's really for the people. You know, like with artists is like. You know, I understand artists. Like it's not like we're all doing the same shit. We're living the same life. It's for like the regular people. Like, you know, so if artists do resonate with it, I feel like that's dope because it resonates with their humanity. You know, like the looking up, having artists or caring whether or not artists really like my shit. I feel like it's kind of like a vain thing. You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, he has status, like, so I want him to like my shit. You know. So.
Do you have any affiliation with the Nation at all?
What, the Nation of Islam?
Mm-hmm.
No, sir.
Okay.
Why you ask?
The X. That's all.
X.
I know somebody. It was somebody else I know that put an X on it. It was an homage to Malcolm and stuff like that. So I was
yeah. So no, that's because my last name is not from anybody that I'm biologically related to. That's why I did that. Yeah. Okay. And that was something I did before I rapped. So
your legal last name is X?
No. I'm saying like when I started writing poetry and was like making social media accounts and stuff.
Got you.
Like I was putting my full name. You put your name in on Twitter and they make that your @ name and stuff, especially way back. And I changed it to like Kembe X.
Oh, okay.
So that's really, I think it came from Twitter, and I was writing poetry and I was signing it Kembe X.
That's interesting. You should let that be known. That's interesting.
I just did.
Now, was there a name before Kembe X?
No.
So when you first, when you
I was like 14.
even like poetry and stuff like that. When you're going by a moniker, that was it. Kembe X was the only one.
He had another rap name before.
No, I did.
He was like little pocket lint.
I wish. I wish.
Little pocket lint.
I wish.
No,
I'm thinking about starting another side rap career as Mercedes Benz though. That's my idea. Hey man, it's not supposed to make sense. Yeah, niggas don't know it's gonna be my face. It's gonna be a different name.
Got you.
Fuck it, why not? Hey, so hey man, do what you want to do. Hey, you did the shit with the last project and it popped, it worked, and you got a lot of people paying attention. What's the next project that you're working on right now?
So the idea is called Matrix Breaker, and the idea is just like kind of like genre bending, and also just like I said, like the perspective and saying things. I feel like my characters, I say things that people wouldn't normally say. I play too much, but I'm also like a serious person. Like I'm into philosophy and like learning. Like I'm the type of person that might get too deep at a party.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, and then also like be really drunk and belligerent and say some wild ass shit.
They don't know which side they
like.
Get.
So part of my thing, like what I'm trying to hone in on is like this whole full-time king, part-time dumbass idea that I have. But that's my thing.
I'm running with that. Just
yeah.
So you know.
Well, I said it, so niggas gonna know.
I'm gonna run with it before this come out. But I'm just letting you know that I'm gonna take that, and I'm not giving you. At least I'm telling you to your face.
Hey, this is all recorded.
I don't give a fuck about this.
But no, so the project is called Matrix Breaker. And then I'm working on like 2 other projects. The Matrix Breaker project is done, but I don't know if I want to put out as long of a project as it is. So now I'm in the phase of like, how do I, like we done made transitions and all this stuff. It's like, how do we organize this? Like, how do I really want to approach it? Because I want this year to be my like 2007 Wayne year where I just put out like hella shit. You know what I'm saying? I want people to look back and be like, 2020, Kembe was working his ass off.
Where's the fine line between oversaturating and making sure that because at this time it's a content game, so you kind of have to give people that shit, but at the same time, how do you not get burnt out and not like overdo it?
I don't think people get burnt out if people like you. If people like what you do, you don't get burnt out. People only get burnt out if they think you suck.
That's
not
true.
At least from the way I look at it, like maybe on like a big, huge, major commercial scale. Yeah. But like that's not really.
Drake doesn't suck.
Yeah, but but I don't like people talk a lot of shit about Drake, but people ain't burn out on Drake, bro. Every time Drake drop, we're all gonna listen to it.
Facts.
You feel me? He's not. It's like we talk shit.
He's amazing.
But is he really burnt out?
Yeah. He's amazing. Sometimes. Well, I work at the radio station.
You feel me?
So I might be a little biased.
Yeah. Like,
you know
damn,
what I'm saying?
more Drake.
Right.
So sue me, goddammit.
But nah, like I think that's a good question, and I think that really like it's about volume and then giving the people a break. I feel like Tory Lanez is good at doing that.
Gotcha.
Like it's a few artists that are really good at for these 6 to 8 months, I'm finna be flooding you. And then I'm finna go away for like 4 to 6 months. And I'm finna come back for 6 to 8 months. I feel like Gucci Mane did that for a period. Like the Migos did that.
Gucci went to jail, so
yeah, that's true.
Don't do no bullshit.
2 million push-ups
He did.
and 6 million burpees.
So I mean, you also mentioned about how this project was something that resonated with most people at this point, right?
Yeah.
So what was something that somebody reached out to you and was like that kind of touched you the most? Like, damn, like I never thought my music would get to this person. Not necessarily the person itself, but the story. Like, did somebody hit you and say, "Man, you saved my life because of this happened," or what?
It's like for the first 3 months, like to this day, I still get messages like that, and really, it's the volume of how many messages I get like that. Like some teacher in China said that he just put 500 of his students on with my music, and the kids started hitting me up saying that like, yeah, these Chinese kids hitting me up telling me about like how the coronavirus is like people really can't go outside, and like they've been in the house like listening to my music, and they're gonna send me videos of them listening to it and stuff. And like the main thing that I'm getting is that, you know, like people appreciate that it's I'm touching on those hard topics, but it's not like a depressing album.
Right.
You know, because that's what I wanted to do. Like that's something that falls into the Matrix Breaker thing. It's like, okay, this album is about depression, but depression is not like it's not like a one-dimensional thing. You know, like depression like includes mania, which means you have times where you're like happy and like in a way that don't make sense, or you seem happy and you just up and being extra. Like that's like what Scoreboard is, you know, like parts of.
I love that song, by the way. That's
parts
my favorite
like, bro, that was literally me like in the studio by myself. For some reason, I was in a great mood for no reason, and I made a dumbass song. I was just yelling into the microphone, and like I named it "Kembe is a dumbass" because like I thought it was so stupid, and I was mad that it was fire. You feel me? And like I think that's like. What I get in my DMs is people like, you know, like I feel understood listening to this album.
Now, how hands-on are you when it comes to the music, the sonics part of like production? Are you like that type with I gotta have a beat like this and you're in there with the producer making shit, or like are you just kind of?
It's like half and half. Okay. Like sometimes, like some songs, like I pick the sound and I sing the melody, like for anyways. Like songs, I write some songs with no beat, so I'm very hands-on. But then sometimes I just get a fire beat and like and just go over it. You know, like right now, the stuff I'm making right now though, like it's like mainly one producer, the guy Wolf who produced Voices. And I'm like picking the sample. A lot of the songs we start just playing acoustic guitar and I'll sing. And then like we'll find sounds together and like pick the drums and pick the textures we want to use, the effects we want to use, all that. But that's a new thing for me. It's something I always wanted to do, but now I understand it more than ever.
Is it hard for you to kind of like go in between projects and like, so you say you're working on 3 different things right now?
Yeah.
Do you go in and say, I'm going to finish this and then go to the next?
No, I have ADD. I can't do it like that. Like I have to be all over the place. And like I have to do more than one thing at a time or else I get stuck and then I won't do anything. And that don't help nobody.
So when you say when you were saying you pop Adderall, like that's for...
Yeah, I mean, I don't anymore, but like that was I probably stopped when I stopped smoking weed, which was like 2016, 2017. Okay. But that's like the period I'm talking about on that album. It's 2016 to like the middle of 2018 when I stopped doing Xanax.
Got it. Yeah. All right, man. Well, look, man, I look forward to seeing like a lot.
Get my album. I was depressed until I made this.
Please do that, man. And we look forward to seeing what happens with you in the future, man. We always ask this one thing, man. What's one thing the year can't end without Kembe X doing what?
Ooh, performing in Australia and New Zealand.
Why specifically those places?
Because they so far, and I just always wanted to go there.
The moon is further.
Yeah, I mean, but that's I'm not gonna make that my goal for 2020. You feel me?
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
Don't fuck with Elon Musk. He can make that shit happen.
I'm trying to get that Elon Musk feature. Fuck you talking about? Follow your vibe.
Exactly.
Yo, Kembe, man, appreciate you coming through, man. Homegrown Radio, Chuck Dizzle, DJ Head, and we out.
Love.